I cheated on the only man who ever truly loved me because I thought I deserved better, but the affair cost me my marriage, my children, my career, and the life I'll never get back. I was 3 drinks deep at my company's holiday party when I let Sebastian kiss me in the parking garage, and in that moment, I threw away 8 years with the only man who ever truly loved me. Not because Nathan wasn't enough. Not because our relationship was broken. But because I'd spent 6 months convincing myself I deserved someone who made more money, someone who looked like the husbands my girlfriends posted about, someone who wasn't still paying off student loans at 34. The kiss tasted like whiskey and terrible decisions. Sebastian pressed me against his Tesla, hands in my hair, and I let him. Wanted him too. Had been imagining this moment during every mundane morning while Nathan made our kids breakfast, during every PTA meeting where I sized up other wives' wedding rings, during every night Nathan fell asleep at 9:30 after grading papers. You feel it too, Sebastian whispered against my neck. You know you're wasting yourself on him. And God help me, I nodded. Nathan and I had been together since college. He taught 5th grade, came home covered in glitter and marker stains, always had a joke from one of his students. I was regional sales director at a tech firm, flying to conferences, closing 6-figure deals. We had Sophia, 6, and Oliver, 4. Nathan did bedtime stories with voices for every character while I scrolled through Instagram, comparing our townhouse to my sorority sister's suburban mansions, their husbands' Rolexes to Nathan's Timex. You could have anyone, my friend Veronica would say during wine nights. Nathan's sweet, but sweetness doesn't pay for private school. You're beautiful, successful. You deserve someone on your level. Her husband was a surgeon. My friend Isabel's husband owned 3 franchises. They vacationed in Turks and Caicos while we did staycations. It's not about the money, I'd protest weekly, but we all knew I was lying. I'd started lying to myself first, then to everyone else. Sebastian was everything Nathan wasn't: venture capitalist, divorced, traveled to Dubai for fun, texted me during meetings about how I was too smart to settle. It started innocent enough. He was consulting with our company. Coffee to discuss strategies became lunches became drinks. Your husband's a lucky man, he'd say, then add, though I wonder if he knows what he has. I complain about Nathan's lack of ambition, how he was happy teaching, happy with our small life. Sebastian would lean in, touch my hand, tell me I was extraordinary. The progression was so gradual I could pretend it wasn't happening. Staying late at the office when Sebastian was there. Buying new dresses I'd only wear to work. Getting my hair blown out twice a week. Nathan would compliment me, say I looked beautiful, and I'd feel disgusted by his earnestness, his complete trust. Working hard for that promotion, I'd say, kissing his cheek, tasting the lie. After that first kiss in the parking garage, I sat in my car for an hour, shaking. Went home and found Nathan asleep on the couch, Oliver curled against his chest, Sophia's artwork spread on the coffee table. He'd drawn hearts around the crayon family portrait where I was just a stick figure with a briefcase, always at the edge of their circle. I threw up in the downstairs bathroom, told myself it was the drinks. But I didn't stop. The next week, I was in Sebastian's apartment, telling Nathan I had a client emergency. Then twice a week. Then whenever I could manufacture an excuse. Mommy's always working, Sophia said one night when I missed her dance recital. Nathan defended me. Mommy's doing important things. I was doing Sebastian in a downtown high-rise while my family ate dinner without me. I became an expert at deception. Separate credit card for lingerie and hotel rooms. Burner phone app for texts. Showering at the gym before coming home. But lies have a weight to them, and I was drowning. Started snapping at Nathan for tiny things. His teacher salary? His contentment. His cargo shorts. Picking fights so I could storm out, go to Sebastian, tell myself Nathan drove me away. I think Mommy doesn't love us anymore, I heard Sophia tell Oliver one morning. I was standing outside their room, about to wake them up. She loves us, Oliver said, 4 years old and trying to comfort his sister. She just doesn't like being here. That should have stopped me. Should have woken me up. Instead, I texted Sebastian that I needed to see him that night. The credit card was my mistake. I'd forgotten Nathan had access to the account for emergencies. A $300 charge at La Perla Lingerie when I told him I was at a budget meeting. He didn't confront me immediately. Later, I'd find out he'd known for weeks. Had been documenting everything. The late nights. The gym showers. The new password on my phone. He was building a case while I was building a fantasy where Sebastian would leave his ex-wife's alimony behind and sweep me into his world. That Sunday morning, Nathan made pancakes. Mickey Mouse shapes for Oliver, hearts for Sophia. For me, nothing. Just a cup of coffee and a printed credit card statement next to my plate. Want to explain this? His voice was teacher calm, the tone he used with difficult students. Sophia and Oliver were watching cartoons in the next room, oblivious. It was for a bachelorette gift, I tried. Veronica's cousin is getting married. Veronica's cousin got married 2 years ago. You were in the wedding. The silence stretched between us like a tightrope I was about to fall from. Nathan stood up, walked to the sink, washed his hands methodically. I know about Sebastian, he said quietly. I've known for a month. I kept hoping I was wrong. Hoping you'd stop. Hoping you'd remember that we built something real here. Nathan, I'm taking the kids to my mother's. We'll send for their things. No yelling. No drama. Just logistics. Like organizing a field trip. You can't just take my children. Our children. Who you've seen maybe 3 hours this entire week. He turned to face me, and I saw it then. Not anger. Not even hurt. Just. Done. I've already talked to a lawyer. I've documented everything. The affairs, the negligence, the emotional absence. You can fight me, but we both know how that ends. Sophia appeared in the doorway, backpack in hand. Nathan must have already told her they were going somewhere. Daddy, why is Mommy crying? Sometimes people make choices that hurt others, Nathan said, kneeling down to zip her jacket. But you're safe with me. You'll always be safe with me. She looked at me then, 6 years old and somehow understanding everything. Are you coming with us? No, baby. Mommy has to stay here. Because of your important work? The accusation in her voice was worse than any screaming match. Nathan picked up Oliver, who was still clutching his toy dinosaur, confused but trusting Daddy like always. They walked out with 2 suitcases I hadn't noticed by the door. Nathan had been planning this exit while I'd been planning my next lie. The divorce was surgical. David's lawyer was better than mine, and I'd given him all the ammunition he needed. Text messages where I called him boring to Marcus, credit card records showing hotel rooms at lunch, testimony from neighbors who'd seen me coming home at 2 a.m. The judge awarded him primary custody. I get every other weekend, supervised for the first 6 months because David successfully argued I was a flight risk, that I'd been emotionally negligent. My own mother testified on his behalf. Marcus ghosted me the day David filed. I'd texted him frantically that my husband knew, that I was free, that we could finally be together. Read receipts on. No response. I drove to his apartment and found a woman's car in his reserved spot. Called his office and learned he'd transferred to the London branch. His ex-wife, the one he'd called crazy and vindictive, reached out to me on Facebook. You're not the first and won't be the last. At least you only wasted months, not years. Turned out their divorce wasn't because she was boring. It was because he'd slept with her sister. Lisa and my other friends chose David in the divorce. He'd been the one at every birthday party, every barbecue, while I'd been chasing some fantasy. They still invited him to couples' nights. Posted pictures of him and the kids at pumpkin patches, museums, places I used to think were beneath us. You had everything, Lisa told me during our last conversation. David adored you. Your kids were happy. And you threw it away for what? For a man who won't even return your calls? I had to sell the townhouse at a loss. The market had dipped, and David's lawyer argued he should get 60% of the proceeds since I destroyed the marriage through infidelity. Moved in with my parents at 32. My childhood bedroom still had participation trophies from high school, back when I thought I was special. Now I was just another cautionary tale my mother shared at church. Pray for my daughter, she'd say. She's lost her way. My career imploded. Turns out Marcus had been talking. Venture capitalists are a small world, and soon everyone knew I was the sales director who'd blown up her marriage for a fling with a client. My company restructured me out with a modest severance. LinkedIn recommendations dried up. I went from 6 figures to unemployment to eventually taking a remote customer service job that barely covered my child support. The supervised visits were humiliating. A social worker watching me try to connect with my own children in a sterile government building. Jack warmed up quickly. 4-year-olds are forgiving. But Emma treated me like a stranger. Polite. Distant. Called me mother instead of mommy. Drew pictures of their family that included David, Jack, and their dog I didn't know they'd gotten. I was sometimes a stick figure in the corner, sometimes not there at all. Why did you stop loving Daddy? She asked during month 3 of visits. I never stopped loving Daddy. I just made bad choices. Mrs. Peterson says when we make bad choices, we apologize and fix them. Sometimes things can't be fixed, baby. She considered this, coloring carefully inside the lines. Then why did you make the bad choice? How do you explain to a 6-year-old that you destroyed her family because you thought you deserved better? That you confused Instagram highlights for real life? That you let your friends' opinions matter more than your daughter's stability? You don't. You just sit there while she colors, knowing you've taught her that love is disposable when something shinier comes along. David remarried last year. A fellow teacher named Katie, who Emma calls Miss Katie with genuine affection. They're having a baby. I found out through a mutual friend's Facebook post, David's hand on her belly, my kids smiling beside them like the family portrait I destroyed. Katie does the things I was too important for. Volunteers at school. Makes Halloween costumes by hand. Teaches Emma to bake. She's everything I thought was beneath me, and she's raising my children. I've tried therapy, meditation, apologizing until the words lost meaning. Wrote David a 10-page letter taking full responsibility. He responded with 2 sentences, I've forgiven you for my own peace. Please respect our boundaries. I've dated, but I can't get past the 3rd date. They Google me, find the divorce records, see the custody arrangement, and ghost. Or worse, they stay, thinking a woman who cheats once will cheat again, that I'm just for fun, not forever. My therapist says I need to forgive myself, but how do you forgive yourself for teaching your daughter that promises can be broken when something better comes along? For showing your son that the person supposed to love him most might choose someone else? For proving to your husband that his quiet, steady love wasn't enough? Last month was Emma's school play. David let me know about it, though he didn't have to. I sat in the back row, watching my daughter shine on stage, searching for David and Katie's faces in the crowd for approval instead of mine. She played a princess who saves herself, no prince needed. When she spotted me after, she waved. Not a run into my arms wave. Just polite acknowledgement, like I was a distant relative she had to be nice to. Jack ran over though, 7 now and still generous with his love. Mommy, did you see Emma? She was the best princess. Behind him, David stood with Katie, her pregnancy showing, his hand protective on her back. The family I'd thrown away reformed without me, better without me. You can join us for ice cream, David offered, because he's still kind. Still the good man I decided wasn't enough. Katie smiled genuinely, no jealousy or possessiveness. She knew she had nothing to worry about. She had everything I'd thrown away, and she treasured it. I declined. Watching them walk away, Emma holding Katie's hand, Jack on David's shoulders, I finally understood the truth nobody tells you about cheating. Even if you win, even if you end up with the affair partner, even if somehow everyone forgives you, you still lose. Because you become someone who cheats. Someone who lies to the person sharing their bed. Someone whose children learn that love is conditional and promises are just words. The last thing Emma said to me that night, as they were leaving for ice cream, Mother, Miss Katie says that when we make mistakes, we can become better people. Are you a better person now? I'm trying, baby. She nodded, considering this with the seriousness only a 7-year-old can muster. Maybe one day you'll be good enough to be happy again. She didn't mean it cruelly. That's just how kids process things. But standing in that empty school parking lot, watching my former life drive away in a minivan I'd once thought was too suburban, I realized she was wrong. Some prices, once paid, can't be refunded. Some versions of yourself, once lost, never come back. And some mistakes teach everyone around you exactly who you are, including yourself. I'm writing this as a warning, that momentary thrill, that grass is greener fantasy, that I deserve better whisper in your head. It's not worth it. It will cost you everything that actually matters. And by the time you realize what you had, someone else will be tucking your children into bed, living in your house, and loving the person you threw away. The affair fog lifts, but the destruction is permanent.